Welcome to the Game Changer 00100 show. I'm your host, Game Changer, and I have a special guest with me here today in the form of Chantel Simone. How are you doing today, love?
Hey, Game Changer. I'm good. Hi, guys.
Okay. All right. So today we're going to talk about the movie Coming to America. But before we do that, because I'm going to give it some time to let the people come through, there's a couple of things I want to talk about. Now, Chantel, did you see my latest videos?
I did not. Which one are you talking about?
Well, I had a couple. I did the colorism one. And last night I did one about are people, is the current generation discouraging the next generation from relationships?
So the colorism one, I did see. I did catch just a few minutes of the colorism one, but last night I didn't.
Okay. Okay. So basically, I was going over an interview that I seen where a couple of, they interviewed two young white girls. They interviewed two young black men, and they interviewed a older black woman and a younger woman of, I don't know, whatever her nationality was. Now, the young black men seem to be concerned that, and they're not, it doesn't seem like they're affiliated with the manosphere or anything like that in any way. However, their concerns were that the girls that they meet, their mothers seem to be teaching them to hate men. And then later in the interview, when they interviewed the older black woman, by older, I mean in her 60s or something like that, she was married 3 times, but she seemed to have a direct hate for, the men that she married and things like that. And, they were all trifling. She always had negative things to say about them.
Yeah.
So, what do you think that the past generation is deliberately poisoning their children against each other?
I think I think they are. I don't think if it's intentional, I can't say. I think it's based off of fear, lack of understanding of each role, and lack of understanding of how both men and women should work together. I think a lot of women expect certain things from men, and when expectations doesn't meet reality, then that's when we get upset, and then that's when we turn against men. But without acknowledging and identifying that our expectations are unrealistic expectations, and it's just not in the nature of men to act how we expect them to act.
Okay, and it's good that we're reviewing a movie, because I think that movies like this is largely where this expectation comes from.
Yes.
So Ray and Melody, thank you for being channel members. And yeah, movie night is tonight. It's going to be after this show. So stay tuned for that. All right. And I guess we could get started with the movie review. Okay. All right. So one of the first things, I'm looking at my notes here. One of the first things that I wrote down was they did the greeting, the whole flowers, and the girls, kind of enter their bed chambers, and, his 3 daughters greet him with the, hello, hello, father, and things like that. And then the oldest daughter came in, and I noticed that she was sexualized. She had, and this is common through the movie. And don't get me wrong, she's a very attractive woman. And she had her legs out like throughout the entire movie. And it was just kind of like unprincessly, it was just like, really? You look like you're wearing Zamundin Daisy Dukes. What's that about? Is this okay? Especially this, is this how you greet your father in the morning? Like, really? This is kind of awkward.
It's so funny you said that, because I noticed it. I didn't put it in my notes, but that scene when they walked into their parents' bedroom, when I saw what she was wearing, that's the same thing I said, but without paying too much attention to it. It was just like something I said in passing, like, why is she wearing that?
Yeah, exactly. It kind of reminds, like, she was dressed like the other girls were, dressed like princesses, but
Yeah,
she was dressed like one of the rose bearers. Like, it wasn't what's the word I'm looking for? Regal, demure, or whatever you want to call it. It's just okay. Here, I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so the one on the far left, like, really? Really? What is that? That's something like panties. Like,
that's lingerie. That's
yeah, it's
something to seduce your man.
exactly. And you wake up next to your daughter or you next to your wife, and you look at you, it was like, whoa, what just happened?
And there's a scene where she's turned to the sides and her cheeks are basically hanging out.
Oh wow, I can't believe I missed those cheeks.
Yeah. Yeah, those shorts are extremely short because I mean, not to be the clothes police, but
Uh-huh.
when I saw those shorts, I said I thought to myself, why is she wearing that? But it wasn't something that I picked up on as something too deep.
Right. Right. Well, her character is a deep one, and that's why I want to point out the little things with her, because she's going to be very important. Like later on when we discuss the movie, definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, and then after that, they talk about how they have a McDowell's in Africa, and of course, you had Cleo McDowell, and he's still mimicking McDonald's. I think it's funny. It was funny 30 years ago. It's still kind of funny,
Yeah.
how he does it. Yeah. But he's just an all around interesting character, and he is proof that dark skinned men do not seem to age or die,
Yeah.
because he's been like old with no hair, and this was 30 years ago, and he's just like the same person. It's I don't know, like the rest of the cast of Good Times is just like withering away, including Michael, and he just still seems to be there. You know Something like that is just like, dang, this guy is immortal. Like dark skinned guys don't die. Like George Jefferson's gone, but he is still here.
Yeah, and I have to. A lot of the characters in the movie looked very similar to how they looked 30 years ago. So that was something I noticed too.
True, true. Eddie Murphy did age well. He could do for some of your training. He could do for some of your training. He did, get that waist side, but
Yeah.
I don't know if that was deliberate, like, or is it he's like, I'm at the point in my life where I'm not, who cares? But I don't know if that was deliberate, because without that, he wouldn't have aged at all, and it'll be weird. Like, really? Who looks
Yeah.
exactly the same after 30 years? Like without that pudge, he would be the exact same person after 30 years. So
Yeah.
now Arsenio Hall, he kind of, well, I don't want to say, I'm gonna be polite, but
You think he aged a bit?
it's not like age bad. I mean, he still looks, it's not that he looks older, it's just that he looks different.
Mm.
Not in a bad or a good way, but it's just like people generally look at themselves. Like you could still recognize them. Like I wouldn't recognize him if I hadn't seen him for 30 years, and then I just kind of seen him all of a sudden.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. However, all the other characters I would recognize. Of course, I recognize John Amos, and what's the guy? Not Louis C.K., but Louis Anderson. Like I would recognize everybody that I've seen thus far in it. I just wouldn't recognize him. But he has one of those faces. That's how he's able to shift into, so that's how he's able to play so many different people here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I guess that works for him. Okay, so after that is a practice fight scene, what they do with the sticks and everything, and they hit the ninja flips and stuff like that. And he's doing it with his daughters. So, he's one-on-one, and then the three just triple team him, and he's defeated by his daughters. So what is your take on that?
That that scene right there, scream, woman warrior, feminism, woman taking over, woman ruling. To have three women defeat the king,
Mm-hmm.
it was just it. Thinking of it realistically, it's not that wouldn't have happened. Like if you were to take a step back and think of the whole movie, realistically, that okay, it makes no sense. But three women, including the youngest one, looked about what, 8, 9,
Yeah.
um, defeating the king, and then that scene to me, not thinking of it as a not thinking of it from the approach of okay, this movie is trying to push feminism in our face, but just thinking of it as like, oh, it's just a fun movie to watch. That scene, I guess, showed that woman empowerment and strong Black girls, I
Right.
guess.
And don't get me wrong, outside of the whole woman empowerment thing, if you move aside from that, it is a very fun movie to watch. Particularly Wesley Snipes' character, but just just generally, the movie is a fun movie to watch. It's good to
You
see the
think
old
so?
faces. Yeah, I think so. I think conceptually, if you take away all the feminist stuff and maybe put a different ending into it, it was an interesting movie. It was way under budgeted
Yeah.
compared to the original one. It seemed like it took place in like 3 places, one of which is a barbershop.
Uh-huh.
But outside of that, I still think it was just like just something relaxing to watch.
I think it's a one time. You watch it just because you watched the first one and you want to see what the second one is about. But it's nothing that I would say, yeah, you have to watch it, or I would watch more than once.
Oh, true,
It
true,
was just background noise for me.
true. But then again, most movies are like that. I guess I have a low bar nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was when you first started seeing the feminist undertone. And also sexualizing yourself in front of your father is a
Mm-hmm.
sign of empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
You
Oh,
know,
that's true. Yeah,
that
because
is
I know growing up there are certain things I couldn't wear, especially in front of my parents. So that's why that when she her attire in that scene, that's why I guess that stood out to me that much, and being in their bedroom.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And I think the reason that after 30 years of sex that they only had 3 kids is because they sleep in their pajamas and allow their kids to barge in at any time. Like,
Yeah.
like, like, were you even trying to have a boy? Because it seems like you have sex once every 10 years. Like, what's going on here? Like,
Yeah.
this is healthy. This is natural and everything going on. Like, it's like 3 kids, really? I mean, don't get me wrong. 3 kids is good for myself.
Yeah,
Um,
but for the king.
yeah, but you have unlimited resources and you have a royal objective to have a boy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what's going on? Like, is someone's not getting it in that often. That's my takeaway from that.
And there's a scene, we haven't reached there yet, but there is a scene where she turned down sex from him.
Yes. Oh, yes. That's definitely in my notes.
Yeah.
So that's definitely in my notes because there's a far deeper issue going on with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have anything on the first couple of scenes before I move on?
So I did write the point of the fight scene, the three girls versus the
Mhm.
king, and then even in the scene towards the end, it was those same three girls versus a whole army of
Oh, wait,
women.
wait, 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 wait.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
yeah.
So that, but I combined those 2 points. That's why I mentioned it. But yeah, that's what I have. And up until that point in the movie, my note says they tried the whole movie. The writing, the script tried way too hard to be funny.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
They were just touching it too much.
Yeah.
One thing I want to point out, and this isn't like in my notes or in the movie or anything, where is the sister? I remember I thought she was hotter. The sister from the original, you know, the one that when they were at the basketball game, the one who originally wanted
Oh,
him.
the wife's sister.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Towards the Was it towards the end? In one scene, they were doing a pan over the pictures that the wife has in her room, and
Right.
there was a picture of the sister and her. But that was the only time you saw the sister in this whole second movie.
Exactly. It's like, how come y'all couldn't call her back? I don't think
Yeah.
that she had like other pressing actressing gigs going on. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it seemed like she would have, you know, I don't know. I kind of want to see her and Mr. Soul Glow get together, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, seems like there is another kingdom in Africa near them called Nextoria, which is very lame. That was very lame, the name. And apparently this kingdom conquered them in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes sense because it seems like their entire military is made up of people with sticks. So what's that all about?
Yeah. You're talking about the scene? What scene are you at?
So I'm talking about when Wesley Snipes first made his appearance.
Okay, yeah.
And you know, he introduced himself, and you know, he talked about the guy's father, and he just kind of walks into the king's chambers, and it's like, really? That's
Mm-hmm.
that's how you get down? Like,
Mm-hmm.
where's your military and all that good stuff? They just kind of like waltzed in there with their sticks and stuff, like, you know. So I don't know. This doesn't seem to be like the strongest nation. Like,
Yeah.
maybe you should save some of that rose petal money for some rocket launchers and stuff. It's like, really? You got all this? You got the bathers and the rose bears and stuff, and they're not really protected, are they? Like,
That's interesting because they didn't have guns or anything. They just had sticks.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, exactly. Like, you're being taken over by stick armies. Like, it's, I don't know. That was just like, oh wow, that's, you know, that
Yeah.
happened. You know, I pictured Zamunda like heavily defended. I don't know why.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Interesting.
yeah. So he comes in and let's see. Um, oh, so well, before that, he comes in and he introduces his son. Now, his son is a stereotype, but then again, so is the father. But his son seems to be on some yo boy type, player type, you know, like a play cliche from the 90s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know, one of those guys that think that they're charismatic and have game, but really women are laughing, just too polite to do so out loud type guys.
Yeah.
And that was kind of, he was a game guy. And that was kind of like the sentiment of everybody in the room. Like, yeah, I don't think my daughter's going to marry that guy.
Like a guy you can't take seriously.
Exactly. A guy that no one really takes seriously. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was just an introduction. That was once again them playing on stereotypes, attempting to be funny, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see.
And then that's why I say it seems as though the intention of this movie was just trying to be funny. Like they didn't really have a strong storyline.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that though. I guess I didn't really have high expectations for this particular movie. Because I know how sequels are, especially ones with titles like this, and I was disappointed after Star Wars, so I kind of just expected like a more of a reunion type thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
You know, and it did give that. You know, I mean, I was happy with some McDowell jokes, and you know, seeing some of the old characters that we'll talk about later. You know, I was content with that because that's all I expected.
Yeah, that was something I was impressed by, that like 95% of the old characters were there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the only line of expectation I had. And that's why when I originally watched it, I was like, oh, where's the sister? So yeah, because that's all I was just really expecting. Kind of like a little bit of closure to they all lived happily ever after, but let's take a peek at what's going on.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's all I really wanted. All right. Now, so the father says you must produce a male heir. And come on now, how obvious is that? How obvious is it that he plays this whole patriarchal, figure that just seems to be like all the way overly, misogynistic.
Yeah.
He just fell into this, because he's old, which means that this way of thinking is old.
Yes.
This patriarchal way of thinking is old, and he's dying, and he actually died. It's like, yeah, out with the old, in with the new. And there wasn't any mourning period. Like his funeral was done while he was alive, and it was a celebration. Then he died, and it's like, okay, now let's move on to back to the feminism. Like it seemed like that's where they were going with that. Like let's out with the old patriarchal guy and in with the new.
And then just like how he died. I mean, this is a spoiler for anyone who haven't seen it, but he was just sitting there and then said, "Oh, I'm gonna die now." It's like, really?
Yeah, exactly. It was just like, okay. But you're right. It was not the best writing. Like he stands there in a coffin and he says, "I'm gonna die now," and he dies.
Yeah.
Now, if life worked that way, I would never actually say those words. That's just me personally, but
Peace.
Yeah. So it was good to see In Vogue. It was good to see Salt and Pepper. See, I was looking at it for what I expected, and I expected like a reunion. And not only was it a reunion of that, it was a reunion of a lot of things from that time period.
So okay, so that part for me, I guess it was a little triggering. Seeing Salt and Pepper and seeing we passed the scene. No, we're not there yet. I'm sorry. Okay, I will mention this point. When the daughter came in and she was singing the Prince song.
The daughter came in and she was singing. Okay. Yeah, let's table that. Absolutely. But I know where you're going with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
but seeing Salt and Pepper and seeing and then I think this movie was an opportunity to bring as much famous people as they could on screen
from that era, which is what I like.
Yeah.
And that was all I was expecting, by the way. I mean, just the fact that it didn't go to the theaters, I didn't expect big production and things like that. So old characters and new. Now, they talk about by the way, this whole thing is a spoiler, so please don't, like hit the like button, but you can leave if you don't want,
be spoiled.
Yeah, exactly. So they talked about how he had a bastard son and how that son was conceived. Now, the circumstances that he was conceived under ran contra to the original movie because it showed, the original movie showed the two of them in America at a club looking for a bride, a queen. And it seemed like they were just so off-put by the women. And this is because they have standards, like the women would either talk too much, or, they would rap, or things like that, but still reasonably attractive women. For the most part. There was, the woman that was Arsenio Hall dressed in drag, but, so when they rewrote it, they rewrote that same scene, but in this particular scenario, Arsenio Hall seemed to have no physical standards whatsoever or standards of any type, and he just kind of took what was given to him. I'm like, that's different?
Yeah.
Like, that's very, very different. and then she drugged him, I guess, and next thing you know, he was impregnated, or he impregnated her, and so on and so forth. Any thoughts on that?
So that whole scene was extremely disturbing to me. The double standards, because basically she drugged him and slept with him, then got pregnant. Just imagine if it was flip. And for them to not only put that scene in there, I'm talking about the R word, not for them not only to put that scene in there, but then to put it in there so casually and then skip by it as
Right.
if, oh, she did nothing wrong. It's like, if it was flip, if it was a different gender role, like, if he had drugged her, got her pregnant, and then dip, it would have been a different story.
It would have been a war between America and Zamunda. And we see how they defend themselves against sticks. So, yeah. Like, that's exactly what would have happened. Yeah. And it does show the double standard. Like, it's okay when she does it. And it's funny because the writers seem to have went out of their way to do that. It seemed to be the only way they could justify this. So they wanted to cast a unattractive woman. And let's be clear, Leslie Jones is an unattractive woman by everybody's measure of what an attractive woman is.
Oh, she's not a 10?
Well, she's a negative 10, Yeah. So, but yeah. So with that, they know they couldn't write, that he would consent to such an endeavor. Which really shows that they went out of their way to put this unattractive Black woman trope in here. I find that very interesting that they kind of wedged her character in under these unbelievable circumstances, which would, and a more feasible one would be, I met a woman while in America. We don't talk about her, but this is her. It's Angela Bassett, and
that's what happened.
This is the kid. Yeah, exactly.
But it's amazing to witness how far in the feminist movement we are as a society, where something like that can be put in a movie and it's considered comedy.
Exactly. There's nothing funny about that happening, especially since it was unprotected and it was the 80s. And what started there. I think everybody was afraid of sharing toilet seats back then. So,
and then he was a prince, so you can drug, have sex, get impregnated by a prince, and just go on by your day. Like, come on.
Exactly. So yeah, the father seemed to have labeled his son the weak one. Now, since the movie, he had about 30 years to address this. Well, he had 30 years to address everything. Like, he had 30 years to say, hey, your wife seems to be a little unpregnant and you don't have a son. Just saying. Like, he had about 30 years to do that before his scheduled death. Yeah, but he just did it on his, oh, by the way, you're gonna need a male heir. What's up with that? So are you using condoms or something? Like, what's going on?
Especially since that is a part of the purpose of being king, is to pass on the throne. It's like, the 30 years, you're not asking your son, hey, you want another woman to try it with?
Yeah, exactly. We have doctors and stuff. You don't actually have to, if it's not your thing, but here's a cup, there's a magazine, guys or girls, no judgment. You got one job, really. You got one job. Notice that you don't have any brothers, is because I didn't really like the whole king making process either, but it's something you gotta do.
You gotta do it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you did kind of pick this chick. I mean, I did break hundreds of years of tradition to get you this chick, and you're not really doing what you do with, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Very weird dynamic. Like I could see if they had like 18 daughters. Like, I get it. I get it, man. Like, we've tried, but it doesn't really seem like how we're trying.
And then there's an age gap between their daughters too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I think the oldest is like 20. She was in her 20s. And then the other one was in her teens, and then the young one was like 8 or 9. So
Right.
there's a huge age gap. Like, I mean, as a princess, what else are you doing?
Exactly. It's like, yeah, you have one job too. And it seems like they're going through like the regular marital phases that you hear married people talk about. Like they go through the honeymoon phase. That's when the first one was born.
Yeah.
And then there's just like a huge gap. And then it's like, okay, might as well. Yeah. And then he's had sex twice after that.
And then the last one is like, oops.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And, he doesn't seem to have any brothers or sisters himself. It's like, don't you want to have like a backup prince?
Yeah.
So, yeah, their family dynamic is very unroyal, to say the least. So, let's see. Okay. So, he was told to find his son in America. So he takes this skit, he takes this sketch, and he goes to America to find his son. He goes into the barbershop, that place, Mighty Sharp, and he meets these guys who, if this was real, they would be 128, but they're still alive and they're still cutting hair because that's who guys get their hair cut from. That's who you want to get your modern haircut from. That's where you go.
This is one of those movies where you just can't think into it. You just gotta watch it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I know that. And the second time I watched it, I'm like, okay, I got to do a review. So, I actually have to think. I actually have to turn my brain on to do this. And that's not fun. That's not fun. So, yeah. And apparently they had a witch doctor that told them to follow the Thunderbird. And it turns out that they did. And that's where they found the son. But before that, and this is a really interesting scene. They kind of showed the son. They showed the son in a. Oh, by the way, Morgan Freeman was there.
Yes.
So, yeah. They showed the son in at a job interview. And he looked and dressed like this. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. He looked and dressed like this. If you find yourself in an interview like this, you have no future.
You're not getting the job.
Everything you attempt to do in your entire life is failed. If that is your best shirt tie combination, first of all, if you have to wear a shirt and tie in interviews, then at least, fellas, at least have one interview outfit. Just like people have like one church outfit, have one interview outfit. Do not have, and I'm not, shout out to Kevin Samuels, I'm not him. But I do know not to do plaid and stripes or even plaid and solids or whatever that is. That is just what in the entire fuck.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the writers probably intentionally did it to show the relaxed culture, like, oh, do you
right?
Appearance shouldn't really, like, don't conform to the strict rules of society. Do you, and dress how you feel comfortable. Which, I mean, common sense can tell anybody a society that's ran by no rules.
Yeah, I get it. It's supposed to show like independence and I do what I want, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which is the exact opposite of the impression that you want to give at a job interview. Like, I get it if he wasn't actually interviewing for a job.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You know, like, so they're trying to show him as a free spirit outside the clock, you know, can't nobody tell, or outside the box, can't nobody tell me what to do type person. And I get it, but you kind of miss the mark when you are looking for a job.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So during this scene, the guy that was interviewing him said, you know, hey, you are you didn't graduate college. And he said, no, I had 3 credits to go, and my mom's got sick, so I had to quit to help out with the rent. And I was like, for 8 years?
3 credit is 1 class, but I mean, when I was in school, depending on
No,
the
and
university.
same as me, which means that what happened with the other, you know, 9 credits? Because you don't just take 1 class a semester. At least I hope not. You don't just take 1 class a semester. So wouldn't you like miss all those classes also? So that was weird. I just write that up as bad writing. But I mean, in addition to that, it's like, really, you quit and you quit for 8 years and you're living at home with your mother. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but and I'm gonna definitely dig into this. He has a very unhealthy relationship with his mother.
Yes.
And if you really think into it, and I know you shouldn't because of the type of movie it is, his mother seems to be deliberately sabotaging his life. You're a 30-year-old man illegally scalping tickets.
And dressing so nonchalant to interviews.
Exactly. And essentially, you turn down the job for some type of strange sense of pride that you have. But at the end of the day, he's going to be working and being gainfully employed, and you're going to sell tickets. Like, that's, but yeah, but I stuck it to the man. Did you really? He's not going to think about you when he goes home and sleeps with his hot wife. Like, you didn't do anything. But that's the mentality that we're trying to push amongst young Black men. He has no drive or ambition.
Mm-mm.
Or even intelligent strategy of life.
Mm-hmm.
He has some type of strange Oedipus complex with his extraordinarily unattractive mom. And yeah, it's weird. Any thoughts or any notes on that?
Yeah, the I can see that. I mean, the no structure. And the part that stood out for me in that scene was the interviewer was a white man, and it was trying to depict him as that, college white guy, golf playing, my daddy pays for everything.
Right.
And the interviewer said, how was it like not being raised with a dad in the household? And he said, not having a dominant male figure is detrimental. Studies have showed. But instead of using that to bring awareness to the lack of dominant male figure in the household, the writers flipped it to shame the white man by saying that, because then the kid responded by saying, oh really, what scientist? And the interviewer responded saying Bill, and he was like, oh, Bill the science guy. But it's true, not having a dominant male figure in the household is detrimental. But
Right.
the writers made it seem as though, oh no, that's a lie. Science is just telling you that because they want men to take over.
Exactly. That's just patriarchy think. There's nothing wrong with being a single mother, right? They raise perfectly good illegal ticket scalpers.
Exactly. Trying to normalize this whole single mom, a woman being the head of the household narrative.
Exactly. And that's what's going on throughout the movie. Thanks for bringing that up. But yeah, and they also want to make it seem like somebody like myself who often say that, now I am put into a trope with a overprivileged white guy that seems to be ignorant.
Exactly.
you
And
know.
it's mind blowing. That scene stood out to me both times I watched it because it is true. Statistic does back up that fact that not having a dominant male figure in the household is detrimental.
Right. Prison status or prison
Exactly.
statistics. Yeah.
But then the fact that the writers made it, the fact that they even put it in there and then negate it is like, what are the intentions here?
Well, the power to become a single mother and encourage others is a strong tool for feminism. You know,
Yes. Yeah.
like once you take that away from feminism, they really don't have anything because it means that you need a man in the house.
Yeah.
You know, and that just completely destroys the foundations of feminism right there. You know, so of course they're going to try to tear down that obvious study. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And shame anybody who talks about the importance of a male figure in the household.
exactly. And this young man, you know, obviously just took this and said, you know, something, I'm above this job. I am better than this guy. I refuse to work for this guy. It's like,
Let me go sell tickets.
yeah, it's like, no, you're worse. You're not, you're worse than this guy, and you will be for quite some time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like those people who are so against corporate world, so against the 9 to 5 world, they would much rather suffer and live on welfare than have a secured income because they're so against 9 to 5, or it's like,
Exactly.
really.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's like, okay. And there becomes a point in one's life when that's not cute anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it may not be 31 like this man is, but it will come soon,
Mm-hmm.
you know. It will come soon. And I think like were you not a prince, it would come the day you meet a Chantel like woman, the day you meet a pick me and she see you living with your mama
Yeah. Selling tickets,
selling tickets. Exactly.
wearing plaid to job interviews.
Yeah. Like when that day comes, then things are going to start, then it's going to get real. You know, it's like, oh, you know, and then you're going to go back to him with a better suit, hoping.
Yeah.
But you're already behind. You didn't build, you could have been building your career at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's see. So he shames the guy for being privileged, you know. So his retort to everything that you said, that part is in my notes. So his retort to everything that you said was, you know, because the guy was essentially saying that not having a strong father figure or father figure of any type stifles a man. And his response was, aren't you stifled because your father, you know, gave you privilege?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer to that is no. The short answer to that is no. Like, I don't think you know what held back means.
Mm-hmm.
I was the exact opposite of held back. I was propelled forward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You were held back by not having a father, and you literally had to quit your job or you had to quit college to
Mm-hmm.
help with the rent, something that you wouldn't have done if you had a father, but you know, a functioning father. But so you had to do that. You are being held back while my father assured that I had the best of everything to propel me
Mm-hmm.
forward. That's why I'm interviewing you.
Mm-hmm. It's like he was trying to shame him for having good parents.
Exactly. And it's supposed to send this message to society, and you know, to those to is a young mind or one that's not paying attention. It's like it would seem like a valid method, like, oh yeah, he's privileged and that's bad. It's like, no, it's not really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not held back, he's held back. No, no, you're held back. He's not.
He got a job.
Yeah, and he didn't have to quit college. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're definitely held back. Yeah, but your father, you know, donated a bench to to this school. Like, yeah, so Harvard has a bench and I have a degree. And you're here trying to get a job from me. Like, no matter how you shake it, you know, it was an advantage having not only fathers, but extraordinarily rich ones.
It's that victim mentality.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there is like a lot of psychological stuff going on with this young man.
Yeah.
And most of all, and the root of all of it is his mother,
Mm-hmm.
which is, you know, who we're gonna talk about in the next scene. So unless you
What were your thoughts on the Tracy Morgan character, his uncle?
he was deliberately thrown in. He's that stereotype,
Mm-hmm.
the shiftless, you know, not full functioning adult at any
Mm-hmm.
age black man
Mm-hmm.
that is somehow in the proximity of a woman, his sister, which this woman is like a she's a destructive force. It seems like she's a magnet to derelict men. Like, why is her brother, younger or older,
Mm-hmm.
seem to be living with her
Mm-hmm.
and helping taking care of the kid, but he wasn't even able to pay the rent for him to finish 3 units.
Yeah, and he was encouraging him to sell tickets because, correct me if I'm wrong, but when they were at the interview, wasn't he asking him like, "Why are you here?"
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, which means that this guy was groomed to be the uncle, and he seemed to be okay with it.
Yeah.
In fact, he probably picked out that shirt for him.
Yeah.
You know, he probably picked out that shirt for him. Oh, I'm gonna roll back a little bit. Looking here at my notes. So, the barbershop scene.
Mm.
So, and I wrote it down verbatim. Let's see. One of the barbers says, they were talking about, you know, hopefully you come for a cure with the quote unquote African titties, and by that they mean titties that sag too much. And he says, you can't even squeeze a tit nowadays without getting fired. And
Yeah.
yeah. To that he replied, sorry, you can no longer indiscriminately touch a woman's body at your whim.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, okay, that's definitely feminist,
Me
but
Too. That's the
but
Me Too movement.
yeah, that's definitely a Me Too movement thing. But the guy who said it, it was the white guy that being in the barbershop, even though it's Eddie Murphy and, you know, whiteface, but um, the guy who said it didn't say indiscriminately,
Mm-hmm.
and he also didn't say at my whim.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying you could get fired just for whether it's very discriminate
Mm-hmm.
and not really at the whim. It's consensual.
Yeah.
Like it's or accidental, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But it can happen and you will get fired. But Eddie just threw that in there, like, you know. So
And
they
again,
go for it.
that to the point that you brought up earlier, to show the older men, the older thinking compared to the newer, the younger guys thinking when we were talking about his dad.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. They kind of showed the old guys as being the worst of the
Mm-hmm.
old days.
Yeah.
And if you're too young to not have seen it, you will picture that this guy comes from a time where men just walked around honking
Yeah.
indiscriminately too. Like, you know, hey,
Mm-hmm.
everybody gets it. You gotta honk. Like, I was like, what? Is that what you took from that? That was your takeaway, that, you know, this is about stopping guys from going around honking everybody? Like, so yeah, that was obvious. And it was kind of like, ooh, that was, yeah. That was it's see, it's too obvious. It's too obvious as far as the, you know, feminism goes. And don't get me wrong, the original had its feminism, but
Yeah.
it was subtle.
Yeah. This one, it's like it's in your face. Like, okay, I'm watching a feminism movie.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, looking at my notes. So the mother is an ugly whore. And that's very interesting because she did not secure a man since then.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the stereotype. Somebody said that she is a Sharkeisha stereotype, and this is true. But she hasn't secured a man, like a long-term mate, in 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is like, okay.
And the only reason she has a child is because she drugged a man.
Exactly. So you and they really just wanted to wedge this character in the black single mother, but somehow still tolerated type
Mm-hmm.
character. Like, you know, they wanted to champion this image so bad that they created the circumstances under which it was conceived to just be like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, unrealistic and everything else that goes along with it. But they're like, okay, we want to bring back this fat, unattractive, black stereotype. We want to dig this up from the 80s and put it back into 2021. That's what we
Yeah.
want to do. We need this stereotype it for whatever reason. You know, black women are trying real hard to get rid of this stereotype. They're trying to do this whole black girl rock thing, most educated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They say, no, damn all that. We're going to bring back the welfare queen stereotype, and she's going to fit the bill completely. You know, she's over sexualized as the Jezebel, because there's three, and maybe I'll do videos on this. There's three root tropes that they have for Black American women. One is the mammy, the other is the Jezebel, and the third is the Sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
So she's all three. She's fat like mammy, she's hypersexual like Jezebel, and she's loud and belligerent like Sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of just threw all three minstrel tropes into this one character, and yeah, at the same time. So she comes home with the son, and she just blatantly said, I was a hoe.
Yeah.
To her son, because that's, you know, that's so motherly. You know, I don't
And
know if that's your father type deal. Yeah.
it's because let's do the math. If her son is 30, let's put her at least 50. Say she had him at 20. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a 50-year-old woman who is just saying, "Oh yeah, I was a hoe," back and in front of her son.
Exactly.
It's like back in the days, we talked about this earlier this week. A 50-year-old back in the days would be your grandma, the person who you respect and you don't even curse in front of. But now you have her, a 50-year-old cursing in front of you.
True. And yeah, she's cursing in front of you. And not only that, sexualizing herself, and
Yeah.
talk about that, you know, she didn't have any sexual boundaries or standards. So they're trying to normalize this behavior once again.
Yeah.
You know, which was extremely destructive to Black women in the past, and they're trying to renew it in this movie. That is. So yeah, that was not good. Let's see. Oh, now now we start getting into, now that his mother is introduced into the movie, we can get into the unhealthy relationship that he has with his mother. So at first he said, I'm not going. Very weird thing to say. So you are a fatherless son, and then out of nowhere your father not only shows up, he shows up and says, I'm not only rich, I am royalty. And I would like to take you back to a place where you will be treated like a prince. And he says, no, I'm not going nowhere.
Yeah.
Which means he has absolutely no ambition. He seems to turn down deliberately each and every single opportunity that comes his way. And that includes the one with the job, you know, with this white guy, you know.
Because I mean, you were literally just looking for a job the same day that you didn't get. You said you didn't want to sell tickets, but you had to sell the tickets. And then now an opportunity like this come, your mom confirmed that, oh yes, that is your dad. Why wouldn't you go, even if it's just out of curiosity?
Exactly. Or even if it's just on some I want to get out the country and see something new thing. Like,
Exactly.
like it's even if it's on some free trip to Africa type stuff, like, there's all the reasons to say yes.
Yeah.
But um but they actually had to see the money to do it, which is bizarre. I mean, wouldn't you just assume that he has it? But
Yeah.
yeah. And this is also the bad writing, but he said, wait downstairs in the limo, and they both were surprised, like, ooh, limo. And I was thinking, like, how did you get to the apartment?
Oh yeah, because he got to the apartment with yeah.
Yeah. So it's like that was strange.
Mm-hmm.
But excuse me. So yeah, but once again, bad writing. So another thing that he said was, okay, I will take you with me to Zamunda. So it was Eddie Murphy's original intention to take the son.
Mm-hmm.
And to which he replied, I'm not hopping on a plane flying across the world without my mama.
A 31-year-old.
Like, you're a 31-year-old man. Today is your birthday. Your father comes out of nowhere and says you are a prince and I am a king, and not without my mama.
Mm-hmm.
Not without my mama. Now, this is commonplace in the Black community. This unhealthy dynamic,
Mm-hmm.
and
What's it
that
called? It's the son
etiquette.
husband.
Oh, really? Wait, say that again.
This, like, isn't there's a term for it where Black women use their sons as their husbands.
Oh, I remember Tommy saying something like that. I forget what it is. Somebody in the chat room, let me know. But yeah, I remember Tommy saying something like that.
And it shows even him just having to drop out of college to help her out with the bills, as if he is the husband, as if he's the head of the household.
If this is a movie, if I met this guy in real life, I would swear, that his mother was deliberately sabotaging him.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly, because they do that to their sons.
Yeah.
And it does happen at this juncture in their life. It does happen in the point in their life when, okay, I'm about to graduate, and move out. This is the point in my life where I'm about to leave the nest. Oh, I'm sick.
Yes. Yes.
I'm sick and I need you to help and pay the rent. Like, really? Like right now? I have like 3 units to go. Yeah, right now.
And so many sons feel guilty for leaving their mom. I mean, I was in a situation where I was dating a single a son who, a single mom son, a product of a single mom. And in talking about our future, he said straight up, like, his mom would come, like, he would have to protect his mom first. He would have to provide for his mom first before he provides for his wife. And it's because of that guilt trip that these single moms give their sons.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was reading the comments, but yeah, it is a form of control. You see, adult supervision. I know, Indian cultures do that. However, and it's not really the house thing. It's not really the house thing that's disturbing. You see, she's not married,
Mm-hmm.
and really neither is he, in a very real way. Nor would he have any prospects considering his current predicament. If he was a real life person, I would swear that he hadn't had sex since Obama was president. just with his dynamic,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I'm pretty sure he would approach a date much like he approached that interview.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also he doesn't seem to do anything without his mama. Well, I don't know. Is he your type? I'm like, maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, especially when the son gets older and the mom gets older, there's a role that sons are taking on that submit for the husbands.
Wait, say that again. I'm sorry.
There, when the sons get older and the moms get older, there's a role that sons are stepping into, but that role was meant for the husbands.
Exactly.
But because there's so many single moms who thought, back in the days, I can raise my son by myself, I don't need a man. Now when it's the son's job to start his own family and be a man for his own family, he has to be going back home to be a man for his mom because she doesn't have a man.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, it would be healthy if, she was widowed at,
Yes.
because men die sooner than women. So if she was
Yes.
widowed at 90, and he's a man with his own family at 60 and retired,
Exactly.
that would be a perfectly healthy dynamic. This is not that.
Mm-mm.
Taking care of your mother, at 40,
Yeah. Mm-mm.
is not a healthy dynamic under any circumstances. What's going on, Complex Design?
And as I
And
mean, as a woman, as a in my if I'm in my 30s and I have my husband, and say for example, there's a storm coming and he has to protect my household, but then he's worried about his mom's household when she should have had a husband over there protecting her household. It's detrimental to our family.
and it's taken away from not only his potential family, his prospective family, but
Hmm.
is taking away from his if he had a family, it would take away from that.
Yeah.
He's protecting his mother instead of for his wife. He's
Yes.
protecting his mother instead of for his daughter. Like it's a unnecessary burden that
Yeah.
she welcomed on herself. Just so she can have sex, unprotected sex in a apartment in Queens, in a dump apartment in Queens 30 years ago. Like this is something she deliberately put onto herself.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, very unhealthy dynamic. And then the fact that he won't get on a plane without his mama.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is not healthy. This is going to end bad.
I mean, and it's even at the point where many black women want sons for that reason, for their sons to take care of them when he's older.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And in this case, because she is a healthy woman at 50, it's really just she wants it because she wants the company.
Yeah.
And the son seemed to be an excuse for the brother to live with her for 30 years, which is odd,
Yeah.
which means that she has a full house without actually having to live under the authority of a husband. And ultimately, that's what what feminists want. They want a family where they don't have to submit.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's why the whole single mother thing is championed. It's like, okay, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to have to submit to a man, um, but I do want a family. I have a biological imperative, so I'm going to try to finagle this somehow. And I'm like, yeah, you can pull it off, but it would have to be at the expense of a lot of men who are already destroyed, which means that you're
Mm-hmm.
embracing a company of destroyed men, and men are not functional adults and never will become functional adults. You would have to be a functional adult for him,
Mm-hmm.
in addition to that, and you're destroying your children as well. It- so yeah, while other groups are creating, you're destroying
Yes.
the
And
family.
they're raising their sons to be feminists, and women are guilting men if men don't adopt to the feminist movement or the women's points of view. They shame them in saying, well, how can you a woman raised you don't love a woman when you came from a woman, or those guilt trip that they use.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So he was raised to be a feminist, and he
Mm-hmm.
was at a job interview where he heard some facts, some
Mm-hmm.
scientific facts
Mm-hmm.
that didn't meet the feminist narrative, and he lashed out against it, and now he is scalping tickets again.
Exactly. Very good point.
And it's funny because on here on YouTube, when I meet these guys, these male feminist types, in fact, I was on the breakdown a few weeks ago, and there was a male feminist on there, and In addition to being a male feminist, he's a 21-year-old virgin.
Mm.
And there was a woman on there who came up and said, oh, you are this, and blah, 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 blah. We need more guys like you, and blah, blah, blah. She was championing everything that he was saying for sticking up to, I guess, me, the misogynist. And I was like, are you going to sleep with him? Because that's ultimately what he wants and what he hopes that this is going to lead to. But no, you could give him a million compliments and he's thinking that this is going to lead down that path, but it's not. Women do not like male feminists. They see you as a tool for their design. Like, feminists don't respect male feminists. They're not sleeping with you. No matter how much you pander, it doesn't lead where you want it to lead.
Because in the same token, women will say, I want a man who will lead. I want a man, I want the masculine man who provide. So they're not going to go for a male feminist. They just like you because you carry the same narrative that they're saying, but they want a complete opposite of
exactly you. It's empty platitudes. And yeah, poor guy. But 21 years and 31 years for this guy. Okay, back to the movie. Let's see. What's next? Mother of Ugly Whore. I'm not hopping on the plane. Let's see. Okay. So when they get to Zamunda, they didn't seem to respect the fact that not only were they in someone else's house, they were in someone else's palace. Like, I'm going to be the loud, belligerent, Medea type trope here in another country. Like, forget the whole when in Rome type thing. Forget the whole code switching, which I know that you know how to do. I know that you have code switched at some point in your life. You can't be a functioning adult without it. I'm not going to behave myself. I'm not going to speak with my inside voice. I'm going to be loud and belligerent in the palace because I think that crap like that is cute. So what are your thoughts on that? Because, I mean, that society is still encouraging such behavior.
Yeah, the entitlement, as you said, I'm not only I'm in someone's home, but I'm in someone's country, in their palace. Like, the lack of respect, because even when they first came in and the mom, like, they opened the door and the mom was extremely loud, and I think the daughter came downstairs and said, oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
It's like where are your manners, basic home training. And then we can even tie this into the whole idea of twerking in a restaurant. Like, we don't know when it's required to be classy and when it's required to be wild.
Exactly. Well, I mean, is there a time, like, to be classy? Is there a time that they ever are classy? Because when to be classy would be in the presence of royalty in a palace. Like, I've never been in a palace, but I would assume that if I ever was, I would try to be as classy as possible. Like, I would Google, like, what are the different forks and stuff, where at least they would see that I'm trying.
Yeah. And she introduced herself to the kids as their second mom.
Exactly. And she just grabbed on the queen and stuff, and it was just really cringe. It's that and see, I don't know if there are members in the audience that don't know this. People like that, belligerent, boisterous people like that, are really just tolerated because most people are polite and they just don't want to bust their bubble. And they think that they're liked, but nobody want that crap in their house, except other like-minded people.
Yeah, that's a good point. They're just tolerated, and then it can even tie in back to the him wearing what he wore to the interview. It's like, don't change for anybody, don't change to conform to society's rule, be you and do you. Where exactly. At a certain point you do need to conform.
Exactly. I mean, you're basically trying to bend society to fit you as opposed to bending yourself to fit society.
Yeah.
And that's never going to work. It's just not. And why would you want it to work? It's a kind of arrogance that you would want that to work. But they go in and, in the same, Roscoe's family reunion fashion that they do. And it's annoying. And trust me, if there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse. If you ever sleep in your home and maybe somebody invites somebody over and then you just hear that loud screech, like why was you screaming? And you go down and it's like, oh no, this is just how I say hello. Like, like you expect something. Like I would expect, like if Melody did it, I would expect that her dog bit her.
Yeah.
If I heard like a loud scream like that, I would think that her dog bit her, because that's why she screamed loud. You hear her in the back, ow, stop it, stop, ow. I'd be cracking up. Her dog don't like her, but or somebody's seen a spider or something and they just like arachnophobic, but it's like, you just do that to say hello
in somebody else's house.
Yeah, exactly. Like people, like babies could be asleep. Like that's just how you walk into people's house.
But again, this shows just the lack of standards, and the fact that the writers thought that it was okay to put this in, and then it got a couple laughs. It's like really, like there's no standards in society these days.
Exactly. And this is the writer's way of saying, be you and people will accept you. It's like, no, people will freaking crush you and destroy you.
Yeah.
And, laugh as you get arrested selling scalp tickets. Like that's what actually happens.
Yes.
Okay. So let's see. Okay. So next we move to where they actually showed Nextdoria. And it was an impoverished nation, especially relative to Zamunda. And by the way, Zamunda seems to be a single palace surrounded by a forest, and that forest extends to the entire country. So it seems like the Zamundan country is about 100 people, and those people are bathers and flower girls and guys that stand at the door with sticks and can't fight. It seems like that's like all of Zamunda. And Nextdoria is like one big ghetto project where they follow stereotypes of hypermasculinity. Like it seems like if feminists were to write about hypermasculinity, and what they think patriarchy, a full patriarchy would look like,
because even in that scene, the scene when they were Nextdoria and the soldiers were working out.
Yeah, exactly. Like they had these Jabari looking dudes, look like shout out to Omega Sci-Fi, looking like they're Rush Week or something like that, like hold on. Yeah, here it is. All right. So this is Nextdoria.
The shake weights. Remember the shake weights?
Yeah, I remember shake weights. So this is Nextdoria. It just reeks of what feminists view toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
This is toxic. Look at them. They're outside getting healthy and getting strong, and that's toxic somehow because look at how poor their country is. Where the country where the guys don't work out seem to be thriving, and and the daughters work out, that country seems to be thriving. The feminist country seems to be thriving, and this one seems to be poor. Where the women bark like dogs and the men, the women are hyper submissive, they're hyper feminine, and the men are hyper masculine. So they really just played into that. So, and once again, it really is cringe. Really, the whole Wesley Snipes thing is really cringe. He represents like masculinity, like, I conquer nations, I barge into your palace and take over, I announce myself as the most endowed man in Africa, and not too bright, but look at my muscles, and I'm so dark-skinned, but everybody is poor for some reason. They never really show where Zamunda's wealth comes from, and why is Nextdoria not really a part of that. They also really don't say, like, how come they didn't just invade them for taking their sister. I mean, they seem to have the muscles and stuff, like unlike Zamunda, but it's fiction.
Yeah, as I said, it's one of those things where you can't really read into it, look into it.
Yeah, I know, but I just got to I'm not reading into the right thing. I'm reading into the right terms. Like, the agenda is so transparent. It's just like, because y'all know movie nights, it's more subtle, and I like to point out the subtle ones. This one is just so transparent. Like, really, you got the muscle guys outside with shake weights?
Yeah.
Come on now. Like, okay, I see where you're going with this. This is like the personification of hypermasculinity. Like,
and them trying to put it off as in a funny way, but really and truly it's not.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they're trying to like funny feminism types thing.
Yeah.
So, all right. And let's see. Nextdoria is hypermasculine. Let's see. Okay. This is an interesting. Oh, did you have anything on that before I go further?
Oh no, I said what I said.
Okay. So let me share the screen. Now, this scene is very interesting. So this is the scene where he comes in and says, so I just had a very long trip, and I was wondering. So talk like that. Oh, God. Talk like that means that you need a reason to sleep with your wife. Like, we should be doing this every night and have more than 3 kids. But today we have a reason. We have a reason to have sex because I was gone for a while. Tonight should be one of those nights I have sex, right? Because I was gone for a while. You probably miss me and stuff like that. And she still just said no.
Yeah. To the king.
Yeah, to the king. And it really just put everything in perspective, So, fellas, what have we learned? If you ever find yourself in a place or a time where a beautiful woman offers to do anything you want and marry you for the rest of your life, and you say, no, I'm going to go to America and find a free-willed woman, this is where you wind up.
Exactly.
This is where you wind up. I know that somebody told you that a submissive woman is a bad thing, but this doesn't happen when you're with a submissive woman, now does it?
And then not only was she withholding sex, but the scene right before that, they got in an argument about the whole the daughter not being able to be queen, and he said that he was just following the laws, and she was like, oh, you're talking like your dad. Are you doing what's right for the family or what's right for your country? When it's like he's supposed to do what's right for his country. That's his job.
Exactly. I mean, he should have responded with, well, I'm doing what's right for millions of families.
Exactly.
You know, that would be a better response. But yeah, you're right.
A
You know,
submissive woman who knows her role and knows his role and respects his role would never even think to have this kind of conversation with him.
hmm so yeah, agreed. Agreed. But she did, and she's stepping out of her role because she's trying to interfere with matters of
Mm-hmm.
state.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's what she's doing. She's like, okay, I want to determine who's going to be the next. And it seems like she waited till after the father died before she pulled
Yeah.
this, you know.
And then she's withholding sex from him because of that discussion they had earlier about the daughter being queen.
Exactly. He's being manipulated. He's being into appeasing mode.
Yeah.
Now he's in that mode, like, I got to make my wife happy, what can I do mode. And she's going to continue this. She's pretending to be unhappy for whatever other reasons she can conjure up,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but really it's about, you're not doing what I want you to do. And you're behaving in a way that I find too masculine. So I'm going to continue with this charade until you marry me.
And this is a
Or until you grant the daughter heir to the throne of Zamunda.
and this is a man who is in charge of a kingdom.
Yes. Yeah, I feel sorry for that kingdom. It seems like next door, a kingdom that people take over with sticks. But
Yeah.
and now we can understand why. Like, oh, and then I forgot about this part. They showed the woman from 30 years ago still hopping on one leg and barking.
Oh yes, they did. Yeah.
So they're really making fun of submissive women. And when you have a discussion about submissive women with a feminist, they always take it to a unrealistic extreme.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is them playing on that. Like, she never slept and she's wearing the same dress and all of that, like, and she's still hopping and barking, and she never ate. Like, that's just ridiculous, even though she's not really bound to it or obligated to it because he didn't marry her.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're trying to use that scene to shame submissive women.
Exactly. More traditional women, like, see, women, this is where tradition gets you, hopping on one leg and barking, and and he still never, like, said stop.
Yeah.
Like, it's
And there was even a scene, right? I think it was during that time when the daughter had an opinion about. Oh wait, no, we're not there yet. I'm sorry, we're not there yet.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Hypermasculine, 30 years. So he asked his wife of 30 years for sex, like he probably does every night. So, like, do you want some more crumpets, or which makes sense that, because he sleeps fully clothed, that, and have 3 kids, that. Yeah, so fellas, this strong, independent woman thing, at some point, the novelty wears off, and this is where you wind up. And ladies, this men that you can control because you're so strong and independent, someday a next Doria nigga is gonna come and whip his ass. Like, so, and he won't be so hot then. Like, go for it.
I mean, what I'll say is the strong and independent woman will meet men who doesn't want to make the decisions. There are men out there who wants a woman to lead and to tell him what to do.
True. However, those men tend to not function in the way men should, and they expect the women to.
Yeah.
And I see that these relationships end when the women get tired of functioning.
Exactly.
Like, that's how it always ends, like point for point. Now, it's a little different in their situation because he doesn't have to. He's a prince. He's a king, so he's not really, you don't really have to go out and compete with well, I guess he does. He has to compete with Nextdoria. So you're right. So he has
to protect his nation.
Yeah, exactly. So he is failing in that regard. So yeah. you know, they get to, so these relationships don't work. I don't know if they're, you know, if there's some initial passion involved with it. I get it, but long term, they do not work. And hence the high divorce rate in Black society. You know, like it just doesn't work. So,
and it comes back down to, as I don't know if we said this when I was live or when we got on the call, but it comes back down to understanding the role of each party in the relationship. And if you as a woman wants to wear the pants in the relationship, you're going to only want to wear it for so long until you're going to be expecting your man to start stepping into his manly roles.
Exactly. And so we're seeing that firsthand, because I'm pretty sure he's like, you know something, would have been better off marrying a bather.
Yeah.
Or a flower girl. Like, you know, I'm like the king with a bunch of naked women running around him.
Yeah.
And I'm still need lotion. Like, what's going on? Like, this.
Because what is the benefit? What benefit does this woman bring to his relationship currently? Because she's not even giving him the sex or the kids that he wants. So what is her benefit?
Well, she's light-skinned. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird, but trust me, try it in real life and you will see it fail. As I've seen it fail so many times. All right. So what's next? Let's see. Did you have anything else on that?
No, that was it.
Okay. All right. So his bathers come in. They are significantly less hot. Here, I'll show y'all. They're significantly less hot. And don't get me wrong, they're I guess reasonably decent women, but this is not a Zamundan fantasy that I had when I was a kid. I remember the bathers, or not the bathers, but I remember them too. You know, when I was growing up in the time and era that I did before internet and porn and everything, you know, any bare breast was just like a wow. You know, these are not those women. I don't know what the agenda is here by making them less hot. You know, I mean, it seems like they're trying to not sexualize women as much, but while still having them walk around in bikinis and stuff, it's really weird. And yeah, I'm not saying that they're not hot or you know, they wouldn't turn a head if I seen them down the street, but they're not Zamundan bathing girls hot from the original movie. They're nowhere near that. Now, in the opening scenes on the original Coming to America, there was, you know, a focus on the beauty of the rose bearers and the bathers. And in this one, there is a focus on something else. And this really shows, you know, a whole gender role reversal dynamic here. Let me see if I can find that. Hold on 1 second. Okay. All right. So there's a different focus. And here, let me share screens. So yeah, now they have the male bathers, you know, which presumably handsome guy, I'm sure, yeah, it's not my wheelhouse, but who is bathing. And she is an extraordinarily unattractive woman. I can't get over that, you know, and I can't stress enough that they made it important to put her in here. But the folks, so now the men are being sexualized, which is a stark difference from the 80s. So there's definitely a gender role reversal
Yeah.
going on here, you know. So it's like, okay, we're going to, instead of we're showing, the topless female bathers, we're gonna go with the topless male ones
Yeah.
because, and the fact that they have male bathers means that the queen
Oh,
has
that's a good
bathers,
point. That is a good point.
which is very bizarre that the queen that you ask for permission to have sex with has bathers, and your kids don't look like you. But I mean, so I'm just saying,
Hmm.
you know. Also, something very strange about this scene. So, three women come into your room and say, "Hey, I want to bathe you naked." Of course,
Let me go ask my mama.
yeah. Let me go tell my mama. Is like, yeah, a very unhealthy dynamic.
Yeah. Yeah.
To which she gives him permission. Like, you go ahead and have a good time, son. Like, really? Well, thanks for your permission, mom. Like,
I mean, but it's kind of like how you mentioned the other day that you heard of women who are going to clubs with their moms.
oh yeah, oh Christ, yeah. It's
It's
this
like this is a
unhealthy
situation.
dynamic. Yeah, go
This
for
is
it.
a situation where if three women came in your room to bathe you, you're hiding that from your mom. You're not gonna go run tell her and
Yeah,
have her give you permission to do it.
exactly. Like, let me call my mom. She's gonna want to hear this.
Yeah.
Like, hey mom, cause so on a side story, and I'll tell this because not too many people listening today. And but on a side story, um, my mom came to me one time. I think I was like 17, and she was like, "Son, I know from time to time you and a girl you want to do your business, and if you do, just go ahead and tell me." I was, Mom, what the fuck? I'll never have that conversation. I'll sooner sneak. What?
Yeah.
I'm never. Why would you even suggest that? Don't even say. Stop saying that. Why would you even say that? That was a very. My mom does stuff like that from time to time. Very awkward and weird and just cringe conversations that she does. You know.
Yeah.
I was raised by my dad, but like maybe that's why. Fortunately, because whatever happened to him being raised by his mom is just so bizarre. Like, and the fact that you walk in on your mom while she's in the tub, like
Yeah.
you're just secure that there's enough bubbles. You're just secure in the fact that there's enough bubbles. But if there's not, it's okay because I seen it when I was a baby. Like, what in the world?
But that's going back to that whole that son husband dynamic. There's no line drawn
Exactly.
because her son is basically her husband. So there's no line drawn.
Yeah. Like you just walk in on your mom and ask if you can bathe with three beautiful women. Like
I don't
she
know.
gives you the okay. While she has a man in the tub. Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're presenting this as comedy. Like this is how a 31-year-old black man is supposed to behave. There's nothing really weird about this. This is normal behavior. You walk in on your mom while she's in the tub with a guy in it, and it doesn't matter if there's enough bubbles to cover everything, and you ask her for permission to get bathed by three beautiful women. That's normal. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's so is this Kia or Kaya? I'm asking you.
Uh, Kia
Kia? Okay,
or
Kia.
I don't know, Kai. I don't know.
Yeah, Kaya, because
Miss
yeah, because Kia, I guess Kia would be Key. Okay, so Kaya says, I heard this today. Explain the son husband dynamic. Well, a lot of strong independent women um are manless, and essentially what happens is the son becomes the man in their life.
Mhm. Especially once the son gets older, the son is the one who is there for his mom, helping her with the bills, helping her with the stuff around the house, what needs to be fixed. and it's taken away from the son's new family, the son's wife and his kids.
Exactly. Exactly. And this is common from my personal observation with only children that are sons.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Um, and in fact, I couldn't help but think about that when I was thinking about um, Miss Average at Best,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because that's her destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And the way she sees it, and this is how twisted her mind may be, the way she sees it is she's not going to die alone because she has her
She has
son.
a son. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And as long as she keeps her son perversely close to her by any means necessary, she can forego the empty nest syndrome and somehow manipulate his life to assure that he's always within a
Yeah.
reasonable vicinity of her.
Yeah. He will never be able to move away. He will never be. And I mean, a lot of sons, a lot of guys feel guilty if they were to ever leave their moms alone.
Exactly. Exactly. Hence the whole, oh, I'm sick.
Yeah.
It's like you've been sick for 8 years, but
Yeah.
hence the whole I'm sick, and I need you to take care of me all of a sudden. Hence that, yeah. So, and this happens a lot. It's something that's never talked about, Kia, and
Mm-hmm.
but this happens a lot in the Black community. In fact, I don't know how old you are, but actually, at just about any age, I'm pretty sure you have come across it in your dating life. I'm pretty sure you have come across this peculiar dynamic in your dating life.
And honestly, you say peculiar, but it's honestly the norm. I mean, from what I'm seeing it, I mean, I know a lot of sons who are
Mhm.
raised by single moms, and that's something that's pretty common amongst them. Like, I mean, and I'm not saying to abandon your mom once you're at age, but
Mhm.
the issue is the mom should have had a husband or actively looking, trying to get a husband to fill the role, not being comfortable with her son playing that role of her husband.
Exactly.
And it will come across of like we're saying, oh, sons should just leave their moms alone in a nursing home or wherever she is and not care for her. That's not what I'm saying.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm not suggesting that by a long shot. However, have reasonable distance between your mother and have a appropriate relationship with your mother. And I think that this dynamic is so prevalent in our community that we don't know what that is.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that's obvious because here you have a man who's barging in on his mom's bathing
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
and he wasn't even shocked. Like, oh, like it's not like he walked in the room expecting her to be sitting down reading a book or something, fully clothed. He just
Mm-hmm.
walked in knowing that she's in the bath. Like, okay, this is normal.
And I must bring this point up. A lot of women are advised to pay attention to how men treat their moms, because if he treat their mom with respect and he's there for his mom and he provides for and protect for his mom, then he's going to do the same for you. That's not necessarily the case.
True.
So pay attention in the sense where, because I know I personally, I mean, I no offense to anybody who was raised by a single mom, I personally can't, won't, will choose not to date a guy who's raised by a single mom, unless, of course, he's aware and, they have a healthy relationship.
Hmm.
In the same sense where many men choose not to date women who don't have a close relationship with their dads, because, we don't have to get into that, but we know why. Um, so yes, for women out there, pay attention how the men treat their moms. Not to say they should treat their mom poorly, but if she takes high priority in his life, then he will never have time for you and your family.
True. True. Like there is a such thing. I get it. Like the people who give that advice, they like they don't want a guy that treats his mom like crap and puts her in a
Mhm.
nursing home and stuff like that. A cheap nursing home. They don't want that. Yet they don't want a complete mama's boy like this guy. So
Mhm.
it's hard advice to follow for a young lady, I'm sure. And also, and this is one thing because I've heard that before. And when I was dating, some women would ask that. I'm be honest with you, ladies. A lot of you have canned questions on dates. A lot of you. Especially during that whole Steve Harvey Think Like a Man era. It's like, I seen the movie too. Is this your date? Like, I seen this movie. I'm black too. Like, if you were dating a white guy, I get it. I'm black. I seen the movie. I didn't read the book, but I seen the movie. Like, don't do that. Don't stop acting like I don't do it. Ladies, don't have canned questions. If you're dating a black guy, he's probably from the same culture as you, and he's read the same books and same movies and stuff like that. Even seen the same commercials. So don't make that a conversation thing.
So what do you mean by canned questions?
What's your 5-year plan?
Oh,
That's the one I got. And here's another one, and this one is disturbing. And I hated this. So I don't know if this was local or if this was nationwide, but somewhere around 1999, 2000, Terry McMillan coined the phrase "down low brothers." I'll never forget this, right? And so for those of you who don't know, because you're younger, but what a down low brother is a man who is jihad, but he is presenting otherwise. And he is doing that in an attempt to, secure a normal life, a quote unquote normal life, and wherever he is. But the stereotype was a lot of these men are jihad, and they're the reason that there is an AIDS epidemic amongst African-American women. Not because they behave like this, where they drug guys and sleep with them raw, but it's because because men are being secretly gay. Now, jihad. Now, so they coined the term down low brothers to describe these guys. And the reason why this happened was because that actually happened to Terry McMillan, the writer of, like Waiting to Exhale and stuff like that. That actually happened to her. So as a result of that era, they had a commercial out, and it was like, stick with the pack. It was like, stick with the pack. And they had these questions like, that a woman should ask right before sex. And these questions were, have you ever shared needles? Have you ever slept with a man? I forget the third one, but it was something. It was something silly too. Mm-hmm. And girls would really start asking these questions. Like, for one, like, I didn't see the commercial. It was like a public service announcement, but it was like you're asking the questions, for one, as if I didn't see the commercial. Which
I know what to say.
Yeah. But no matter what, it's a killer. Yeah, it's a killer. It's a vibe kill like no other. Mm-hmm. And for two, if I did any of those things, like if I shared needles yesterday, what do I lie to naked women? Like, you think I would be the first person to lie to a naked woman to seal the deal? Like, so the advice made no sense, because mm-hmm. men lie for sex. Mm-hmm. So you're basically, this is something that you ask somebody before unprotected sex. So if I answer these questions properly, it's raw. Like, I didn't. It was a stupid commercial, and the women who asked the questions, to me, were stupid, and they do everything they see on TV. Mm-hmm. And it just defied all logic. And I could never picture, by the way, none of the things are true, but I can never picture a scenario where a guy just comes out and say, oh yeah, I shot some heroin yesterday from a guy who looked sick. Like, first of all, it's okay to use unshared needles. Like, you sleep with regular heroin guys. Everything about this was wrong. Everything about this commercial was wrong. And then, but lastly, and this is something that hit me like after the whole thing happened, and I was telling the story to somebody else. I was actually telling the story to my girl who wasn't in the country at the time. And the last thing was that killed me. Like, what if something happened to me? Like, what if there was like a dirty uncle situation? Or what if there was like a Big Bubba in prison situation that I would rather not bring up in intimate moments? And then you just ask me that question out the blue.
Yeah.
Like it was just wrong in so many ways. I know that's an extreme, but canned questions, ladies, don't ask. Be yourself on a date. Don't look at it as an interview or a questionnaire, guys. It's neither. Just be yourself. He's getting to know you. You're not there interviewing him with a bunch of Steve Harvey questions or some crap like that.
Be authentic on the day and just be genuine. Yeah.
Exactly. And know that he's getting to know you as well as yeah. All right. So moving on, because let's get away from that bath scene because it's taking the conversation in a very, very weird direction. But that was a very weird scene. And they're normalizing very, very, very weird stuff. You know, like this is not a healthy dynamic. So
and a point is they try to normalize it in a comedy. So you watching it, you're thinking, is this supposed to be a part of the joke, or is this something that's be normal? Because was it supposed to be a part of the joke that your son walked in on you? It's a very twisted joke. Or are you normalizing this as something that happens?
You know, the funny thing is, I think, Zone is warning. Oh, dang, time flies. Okay, let me, because the good part is at the end. All right, I might, Zone, stay tuned. I might push back movie night. So, but what's next? So, the joke part of that scene was the guy popping out of the tub. Like that was the joke part. Everything else was supposed to be like, okay, natural, and that's the punchline. The guy pumping up. So yeah, they were saying this is normal, and this is funny.
Yeah.
Like, so then he walks in and he meets his barber. Oh gosh. What's your take on the barber? You could be as descriptive as possible because we're nearing the end.
She in terms of how she looked,
just in general, look, personality, you know.
She was one of those I mean, she didn't look like, as we say before, she didn't look like eye-catching like the girls in the first movie. But then what stood out to me about her was, you remember, she's the one who wanted to own her own barbershop and be this whole entrepreneur. And he although this is not the scene, we're jumping around, right?
Yeah, feel free to, because you know, you want to wrap up something. Yeah.
So she was like, oh, she want to own her own barbershop. She want to break free from tradition. And he thought that was very attractive in her. He was drawn to that because a woman who has ambition, that's what he was drawn to, which of course it's not surprising because at 31, he doesn't have any ambition. So of course he would want a woman who will own her own shop so he can live with her.
Fellas, do not put yourself in this situation. You're asking her, does she have an ambition? And her ambition is to own a barbershop, and you're the Princess Zamunda. It's like, wait a minute. You're hyper focused on her ambition when you have none of your own, like you said. Don't be surprised if 30 years from now, you're asking her for sex.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if and when that happens. Just saying. All right. So he gets his hair cut. He flirts with the barber. He's just so impressed about her, about how strong and independent she is. You know, and then he walks into the throne room, and you know, the guy that sings, announces him as, such and such from Queens. And then his mother taps him. And then the guy said, and his mom's.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she taps her son, who is the prince. I want to be announced too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Equality.
Yeah. Now look at this. Look at this picture. Look at this picture.
Mm-hmm.
She is centered here.
Oh.
She's in the center. She's taller. She has the hat representing a crown. It's more regal. His is more plain and pajama like. He seems like a subordinate. He looks more like a servant than the actual prince in this frame.
It looked like she's the prince.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. She looks like the regal one, and he looks like just some guy that wandered in, and he's asking her for direction. And yeah.
Good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, and that's how it is. And he made sure at her behest that she get announced too, which is like why.
So you look at a picture like that, who you think is leading? It looks as though she's the one leading.
Exactly.
When granted, you just found out he's a prince. You are nobody. But then you walk in the center wanting to be announced too.
Exactly. And she's like his right-hand man because she's on his right. Yeah. Yeah. Everything about this is incorrect. I mean, but he looks like one of the servants in the background. That's done deliberately.
Yeah.
And he demanded that she get announced too, which is like, I want to get announced. It's like, dang, you are really just milking the fact that you R-word a guy 31 years ago. Like you're just trying to live off of this as much as you can, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. So the oldest daughter said, to him, I've been preparing my whole life to stand where you are. Which means but that breeds the question, why was you training this princess to be a prince?
The mom was. That was all the mom.
Probably making subtle suggestions like, hey, why don't you teach your daughter how to fight with, sticks, how to do some ninja moves?
They weren't princesses at all. Like, I mean, even going back to the typical Disney fairy tale princess, these girls weren't acting like princesses at all.
Yeah, exactly. They were acting like warriors. He was training them to be princess. And like, which would make it harder for her to marry an actual prince. Like in this fictitious world, I'm pretty sure Africa's full of kingdoms, not republics. And if she wants to marry an actual prince, he's probably not going to be that enticed by, a chick that walks around in lingerie and fights like a dude. It's,
Yeah.
Just saying. So yeah, but the mother was obviously manipulating him to train her as a prince, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she says she's been training to be a prince her whole life.
Yeah.
Like, why was it's weird. Yeah. So yeah, it seems like the second daughter was born as a reward for teaching him the sticks. For teaching the first daughter the sticks. Like, okay, you have done well. You trained her to become a prince. Here's some more.
There is a scene where the daughter said that, I was training to be my prince my whole life, and the dad was like, we're done talking about this. And I guess he raised his voice at the daughter, and the mom stood up. Like, how disrespectful. That right there they tried to show that the wife is in control, because she stood up as if to show authority.
Exactly. exactly. He was taking authority of the daughter and the
Yeah.
wife, you know, and she was somewhat surprised that he actually did that.
Yeah, like he raised his voice or took his ground.
Yeah. And yeah, this is true. Now, something very interesting happened. But I am going to say that my next vacation will be to Nextdoria. I just got to go to Wayne's gym so I don't get jumped. But yeah, my next vacation is definitely going to be to Nextdoria. And here's why. Hold on, let me load the scene.
Yeah.
It seems like this is a country that is full of extraordinarily beautiful and submissive women.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, it's hyper. Nextdoria seems to be like the land of hyper masculinity combined with hyper femininity. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like if you remember the first with the first movie, you know, the father of the woman that started barking was like this decorated colonel. He's like, I am Colonel Ezekiel, and with your permission, I would like to present my daughter to your son. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like he was, you know, he wasn't like a musclehead, but he was disciplined. You could tell by his posture and his demeanor. Of course, he's an actor, but you know, you could just tell that he exudes discipline, self-discipline, which is a masculine trait. And the daughters of such guys seem to exude extraordinary femininity. So she comes on and she's singing, has a beautiful voice, she dances, you know, and you know, she looks like this. She looks like this, you know, loving the hair. Y'all know how I feel about that hair. The body goes without saying, of course, you know, loving the lips, loving, you know, the eyes and everything, you know, that's my thing. And she could sing. So she's just like something fresh out of a, you know, fantasy, you know? So yeah. And so this is presented to you as your virgin queen bride, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I like the thick hair. Yeah. Y'all know that because y'all know my pudding and things that I do. So yeah. All right, hold on. So yeah, I would definitely take a trip to Nextdoria. And you know, they link up and you know, he agrees to marry her for obvious reasons. Like extremely obvious reasons. Because I don't think he was doing much better in Queens. I don't think he was doing much better in Queens. I truly don't. You know, so yeah, that's that. Any takeaway from that?
Um, just that whole scene. There was, I mean, the daughter, pretty attractive. You know, you talk about her hair. When she was dancing, did you notice the reaction from the king's daughters?
Well, the youngest one was getting into the song, while the middle one, Eddie Murphy's natural daughter, you know, she warned her to maintain a
Yeah.
regal appearance, you know, maintain a disciplined appearance. But the oldest one, it seemed to be, and this is probably your first time hearing this term that I coined. It seemed to be some Nana envy going on there. There was definitely some Nana envy going on.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because your brother, but you know, I
And she
think,
had no reason to be.
yeah, exactly. It's like, well, she's kind of here for your brother, like really.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I write it off, and I know that you're a lot more mature, but I write it off as it don't matter. Nana envy is just something that women feel when a more attractive woman walks into a room, no matter the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it could be your husband's sister. You don't care. It's just that
Mm-hmm.
feeling that I'm not the hottest one here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, no matter how sexy my legs are, that I just happen to show off everywhere I go. I'm not the sexiest one in the room anymore. And this is the look on my face as a result of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, but yeah.
Because when I watched it the first time, I was like, oh, maybe she's looking at her like that because of her attire. But then when I watched it the second time, the oldest daughter attire was like that when she walked into her parents' bedroom. So it couldn't be because of her attire.
True.
So she
Or you
had
know
no
something?
reason.
Go for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She had no reason to.
True. Now, hypersexuality aside, singing and dancing are very feminine things. Zone, could you move it? Could you move it to say 350? So hypermasculinity aside, or not my mistake. Hypersexualization aside, dancing and singing are very feminine things. And these are skills that while this woman was learning how to sing and dance, which is something that's at the very least pleasing to a man, at the most arousing to a man. While she was learning these particular trades, the daughters was learning how to beat up people with sticks.
Yeah.
So it could be like that feminist hate, like, you know, seeing a woman behave as a woman is just disgusting. Like, how dare a woman behave in a feminine way?
Yeah.
So it could be that as well. You know, the same type, you know, you know what it is? She's looking at her like a pick-me.
Yeah.
So it's not envy. She's like, ooh, look at this pick-me.
Like, how dare you not want to take over and allow me to sit on the throne? Like, yeah.
Exactly. And how dare you be interested in and it's funny because the scene that you were talking about where the husband well, I'm sorry, I'm setting up for movie night too, so bear with me. Here, I'm gonna send a message to Zone right quick. By the way, movie night is tonight, is right after this, and the movie will be Medea's family reunion. And it's pertinent to this. That's why I picked to do everything in this order. All right. So, what was I saying with her?
We're saying the husband, that scene when she was being feminine.
Wait, what about when she was being feminine?
You said something about the husband.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The scene. So, yeah, when Eddie Murphy was about to, you know, he asked him, he's like, do you want to marry this woman? You know, no, they said, do you agree to this union? And he did the right thing. He asked the son. He was like, well, if you want to do it, then, you know, it's okay with me, which is what you should do. You know, it's like, and that's when the daughter objected. But he's not doing anything wrong at this point. So she objected because it solidified the fact that, okay, this is going to happen. You know, this marriage is going to happen and he's going to be the prince. And she objected. And the father reminded her to stay in her place. And then that's when the wife, you know, intervened.
Stood up.
But basically, the wife seemed to be from the beginning preparing for her daughter to be, you know, the queen. And I'm not talking about the queen as in, you know, the traditional sense. I'm talking about the ruler of Zamunda.
Yeah.
She was grooming her daughter for that her whole life, and she's seen that slip away. So, yeah. All right. Let's okay, so for those of you who are participating in movie night, it will be after this. So whenever this is done, I'm in the chat room just in case I'm in the Zoom room just in case somebody comes in. All right, so let's see. Next, hold on. My notes say go to 4423. Okay, so as I mentioned, the whole singing and dancing is a feminine thing. Now I got to get this. It's hard on Amazon to really just here. Let me just do it like this. Ah, perfect, perfect, perfect view. This is normalized. This is normalized in the Black community. Stuff like this, bitch. This is a grown ass man with muscles and shit. Now he may not be aware of it, and you better pray that he never becomes aware of it. Do not grab. She smacked him before she did this. Don't treat or handle a dude like this. This is a 31-year-old grown man prince. What the F is wrong with you?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And those of you who watch basketball, it was a disgusting scene. As y'all know, I don't. I'm all nerd, but of course, Oakland and Warriors. So I'm not going to not see some stuff. And so I seen a championship game, and so there's Steph Curry, and then there's like Kevin something. He's bigger than Steph. He's a real huge gorilla looking dude, and so his mom, after they won the championship, I think this was like 2015, 2016. His mom just comes out of nowhere, this little fat chick, and grabs him by the beard. She just pulls his beard down and said, look at me, Kevin Durant. And it was just like really emasculating and stuff like that. Just Kevin Durant, that's the name. So it was just like real emasculating and disrespectful, and in front of everybody in his big moment, like this is the guy that came to the Warriors just to win a championship because they were hot those years, and yeah, I'm like, really? Like this is public disrespect. And it's chronic. Yeah, son, husbands, but you don't even treat a husband like this. Yeah. She gave him a gentle smack before this, because this is where she encouraged him to grab the mic and start singing too, which is like, that's really more of a female thing, and she is the presenter. So why do you feel the need to chime in this regard? Like in this fashion? Oh, because your mama told you to. She smacked you and she grabbed your face like this, and you just stood there like a scared little boy, and then you grabbed the mic and she smacked you in front of your future wife.
Yeah.
It's sick. This dynamic is sick. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. How she handled him, like that's disrespectful. But the thing is this, it's not seen as disrespectful because there are no male dominant households. So a woman like her who raised her son, it's kind of like, okay, so the husband's son, you get the benefits of a husband where the man pay the bills, provide, protect if needed, but you can still wear the pants in the relationship because you are the mom. Exactly. So she can still handle him as if she's over him, but she still expect the qualities that she would have gotten if she had a man for herself.
Exactly. So she's raising her own ideal husband.
Yes, basically.
Yeah. And she's maintaining this authority indefinitely too. It's sick. And just like you say, it's prevalent.
Yeah. Yeah, too.
Okay. So, all right. So let's get this done by 4. Zones upset. Like, I'm not changing again. Okay. So, all right. Let's see. So yeah, I made sure to freeze frame at that point, because that whole scene, you have to see it. Like that's like, and guys, y'all know, y'all see a dude like this, like, damn, dude, I kind of, respected you before this. Now I'm gonna have to reconsider, who should we allow to be the mafia boss?
And then it goes back to pay attention to the men and their relationships with their moms.
Exactly. So, like, were you taught that this was a good thing? Like, if you've seen this relationship dynamic, were you taught to go for guys like this,
You see,
or
so it was the norm. So I didn't see it as if it was bad or good, but it was just the norm. So it was something that I thought was expected, but at the same time, I was never attracted to men who were considered mama's boys.
what would you have done? And I'm talking 25-year-old you or 26-year-old you. What would you have done if he just grabbed her by the wrist and say, "Bitch, don't you ever touch my face like that again"?
Oh, it would have been like, "Oh, what? You talk to your mom like that? You should respect your mom. She's your mother." Yeah.
She grabbed off. What the hell?
Yeah.
Not knocking her out is respect. Like,
And I mean, that's the shaming tactic they use. How are you so disrespectful to women when you have a mom? You're supposed to get on my program because you have a mom.
so it's lose-lose.
Yeah.
For the guy, because the woman is like, oh dang, he's like, biologically she's drying up, like, oh, he's a little boy, he's a 31-year-old little boy, and so that's going on. Well, but if he retaliated against it, then socially she's like, oh, how do you treat your mama? It's a lose-lose.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I don't know. And you're right, it is commonplace, and that's why I'm here in the manosphere trying to help with that. Yeah. Somebody said just here to submit to Chantel. All right, let's see. Told him to be the prince from Queens. Why did I write that down? I don't know. Let's see.
Oh, because the barber said something.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, so yeah, I'm here, and okay, so it says 50-51, and you're right. So, or 50-41. So yeah, that's the barber, getting into his head and telling him what kind of prince to be, and then the lion thing and everything just kind of stems from there. But basically the barber is manipulating him. He literally knows this chick for less than a week, which shows how things was going for him before.
Yeah.
In Queens. It really shows. It's like, dang, dude, you just a week? Like, I know she's like African hottie, but little thirsty, brother, a little thirsty. Like, just saying, a little bit thirsty. You seem a little parched with this, and she knows it. Like you came out the bath like just with the toothy grin and stuff, and she's seen the thirst on you, and she's cutting off your, and she says, so she cuts off his princely thing and says, the barber says, let's see, this is one of the many backwards Zamundan traditions. Like,
his hair?
Yeah, that thing that represents that, I'm a prince, that ducktail that they had. Yeah.
You know what this reminds me of? I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Bible story Solomon.
Is Solomon? Or
I don't know. Is it Solomon or Samson? I don't know.
I think it was Samson. Yeah.
When she cut his hair.
Exactly. So yeah. So she cut his hair, took his power as if he had any.
Yeah.
But she. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, what is? This is weird. I didn't notice this before. Why is he wearing that shirt?
Oh, is that the same shirt?
That's the same shirt. He is a weirdo. So through all the princely robes and stuff he has, it's like he's holding on to this ratchet queen culture. And this orange plaid ugly shirt represents the, I still have to keep it real because I'm from Queens type deal.
Yeah, yeah.
What's wrong with you? And this is supposed to be commonplace. This. Remember we was talking before. This is Arrested Development. This is what I was talking about before. It's like, everything is wrong with this. They're holding on to a crap culture.
Mm-hmm.
They're holding on to a highly dysfunctional culture. And she says Zamundan traditions are backwards. No, I mean, well, maybe. However, the stick thing is weird, but I will say that our culture is a ugly single mother drugging somebody to
Mm-hmm.
get pregnant and keeping her son of 31 years staying with them in a shitty apartment while she smacks him around literally. That's their culture. Oh, and the brother is there. The drunken brother is there.
Yeah.
That's their culture. Like, who's backwards? Who's backwards? This was just, yeah. So she just insults Zamundan culture the first opportunity she gets because she wants to be strong and independent, and
Yeah.
and she's the only woman here that's employed in a non-feminine capacity, meaning she's the
She's
only
a
woman here,
oh
right?
yes.
Yeah, so she's the only one that's employed in a job that, and this is for the audience, that either a man or a woman can do.
Mm-hmm.
Being a barber is something both a man and a woman can do.
Mm-hmm.
While being a naked flower girl is really something that's very gender specific. So is
Mm-hmm.
a bather. So yeah,
And
uh,
then notice how she's the only one who speaks up the most. The flower girls hardly speak. They bow, they say yeah,
exactly,
and that's it.
exactly, because their duty is femininity. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're there because of their femininity, um, and of course being female, and their beauty, their looks. So they appreciate the life of that. And I'm pretty sure if this were real, a lot of women would take that position for proximity to royal or noble men,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they may be of nobility to an extent themselves, but because that's how things done with like handmaids and things like that. So, um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so the first independent woman, meaning that she is a single working woman, which if their laws were so backwards or outdated or something, she wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
Like if things were truly that, you wouldn't be a single and attractive working woman without a man with dreams of owning a barbershop. If it was really like that, then you would have married a guy who could have bought you a barbershop and had you work there. You're not owning it, but you behave as such. Like, but yeah. If
The issue I see here and the issue I have with the feminist, because I've said before, I support the feminist movement in terms of giving us a choice, the option to choose. But the
Mhm,
issue that I'm seeing here is you get men are expected to get on woman page, do as I say, get on my page,
mhm.
or then you hate women. You either get on my page or you're labeled as a man who hates women.
True, true, exactly. Like I get equal rights and equal liberties and certain things like that. And that's why these things were voted into law by men, to protect women against certain things. And it's in our instinct to do so. However, it's now has become an attack on men. The shield has been used as a sword in a sense, you know, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that's that scene. Did you have anything else on that barber scene? She said,
Um,
"Oh, tell him to be the prince from Queens," which is weird. It's like once again, if you're in somebody else's house, take your shoes off. This goes back to when they came in belligerent. These people with the worst culture, and I'm talking about Black people. So I'm not really excluding myself, even though I don't culturally practice. I don't walk into people's house loud as hell, for example.
and
Um,
that was the trigger. I know earlier I said, "Oh, I was triggered a bit." That was the triggering thing for me. I mean, being an immigrant, it's like if you go to somebody else's country, you go to somebody else's culture. Yeah, you want to keep your individuality, but still adapt to their culture. I couldn't be a Jamaican coming to an American culture expecting Jamaicans' cultural norms, and it's the same. And
exactly.
it's the sense of the movie in general, the African culture, um how they depicted African culture, even with the dancing and the exposure, the body, the dressing and everything. That's not how it really is in African culture for
No,
the
of course
most part. So that part was triggering for me. It's like, if you're gonna base the movie, say it's based in Africa, at least adopt some cultural norms and respect the culture.
I agree. I agree. It was hyperbolic, but fortunately it wasn't negative, in my opinion. In my opinion. It wasn't it wasn't derogatory.
It wasn't.
Like something like Tarzan would be considered highly derogatory. Um, Shaka Zulu is highly derogatory. In fact, I did a post maybe like a week ago, week and a half, and it was these African girls dancing, Zulu, South African girls dancing, their traditional thing, titties out.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that video on your page.
And I put, would this be okay? I mean, don't get me wrong, they were nice and I'm a man, but YouTube would shut it down if they were white. Like, let's be clear, YouTube would shut it down. It's like, is the rule? I don't know. It's disrespectful in a sense, because as long as they're African, it's not really human. Because they would shut it down if she was Rihanna too,
Mm-hmm.
But it seems to be okay. Like, I remember Shaka Zulu being on network television, like, and of course I was a little kid. I was a boy. I was just a little Negro, and I was like, oh wow, like this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, Terrence. Go ahead. I moved it to 4. Movie nights at 4, Terrence. But yeah, that's one of the things I find disrespectful. But before the internet and before actually meeting Africans, I did have a very negative perception of Africa and Africans. And it was highly misguided. And most of all, dang, what was I gonna say about that? Zamunda was actually more of an ideal of it, compared to all the other derogatory crap I've seen. The starving kids with flies on their faces.
Oh yeah, okay. To that point, yeah, because Coming to America, the first one, was one of the few movies who showed what Africa is for. The wealth and the kings and the queens.
Exactly. So it showed it in the most positive light that I have seen, and that was succeeded by Wakanda, but still, but yeah, it is a fiction, and it's unfortunate fiction, because I would love to, have some flower girls and bathers, like if there was a hotel like that, somewhere in Africa where it's like Prince for a day, $5,000. Yeah, that would be a nice vacation.
And I think even with the point of well, the barber was African, so she was from the country, but to the point where we're bringing over like, yeah, you're in America, you have your viewpoints, you have your thinking, but then to go to a different country, we can talk about the queen. You went into become a queen of a whole different country, a whole kingdom, and then wanting to change the rules so your daughter can be the queen.
Exactly. It's like
the lack
keep
of
your feet off my table. Yeah.
Okay. The lack of respect for cultures.
Exactly. Oh, let's see what Zero says. All right. Thanks a lot, Zero. It says, titties are always okay. Always. Wait. Unless they're lap titties. What's lap titties? Those are. Oh yeah, the saggables. The saggies.
I'm laughing because I'm thinking of Derek Jackson's wife.
Oh crap. You cold-blooded. No, it wasn't his wife with the saggies. It was his first mistress, the one that first came out. His wife is saggy too? Maybe that's his thing.
Yeah.
Oh man.
There are a couple of her Instagram pictures that went viral.
Oh, okay. I don't Instagram, so that's why I didn't see that. So dang, his wife is, oh crap. So yeah, I guess he just like them low, 3 belly buttons, like, hey, no judgment. But all right, so off the titties. Let's see. Told him to be the prince from Queens. Yeah. And basically just kind of force your culture onto other people,
Yes.
even though your culture isn't really functional or valuable or productive or doesn't get you anything, not even family. Like, I mean, some cultures you are rich in money, other cultures you are rich in family. With this culture, you're rich in neither. But you want to push this on a kingdom that has both.
Yeah.
It's like, you know something? This kingdom seems to have money and family, and we have neither. So let's show them our ways. Very weird.
Yeah. It would have been a different story if um so in the first movie, you know, her dad owned the restaurant and they had a two-parent household and it was very, you know, functional in their own way, in their way. Then that would have been different. But as you said, this was a dysfunctional family.
Exactly. Exactly. This
He wanted
wasn't
the
like
throne.
a Cleo McDowell situation who was widowed and stuff like that, but he was still a
Yeah.
very responsible, you know, he was the king of McDowell's,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and she had qualities like, you know, she was doing the community building and stuff like that that seemed to him at the time queenly.
Mm-hmm.
And then it seems like she cut him off like the day after she got pregnant the first time or something. I don't know. But 3 kids after 30 years of fucking, that's, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's see. And then the oldest one says she was mad at him because she was preparing her whole life to stand where you are. It's like you didn't. I mean, somebody should have told you that it wasn't for you, but you know, you still had expectations. You was just waiting for the grandfather to die and the father to have no choice. And you know, you probably was feeding your mother birth control or something like who knows? But like, how were you preparing for this when you knew it wasn't supposed to happen?
Yeah.
And I don't know. It seems like they don't have a lot of kids. Maybe the cost of flowers is just too much to support 2 kids or something. I don't know. So, so once again, within a week, he's making googly eyes at this barber. You know, don't get me wrong, she's a beautiful woman, but just like in the first movie, they're all beautiful women. The woman who wound up barking for 30 years, was she not like gorgeous? Like what they want to show, and this is the obvious feminist agenda here, it's just that is hyperbolic in this movie. What they want to show, and this is the biggest, that's why I put a star next to this. This is the biggest lie that this movie tells people. This is the biggest lie that this movie tells people. Ladies, if you're listening, hear me if you are. Kia, Miss Dependent, hear me now and hear me good. We will always pick the beautiful, submissive woman that can sing and do whatever we say. Always. This is full of crap. The entire movie is full of crap. If this movie was a real man, we'll always pick that. Always. Each and every single time. The movie would have been, if that was me in the first movie, it would have been called Stay My Ass in Africa and Take a Bath. All right? That would be the movie. And yes, I would be married to the barking chick and have no static with Wesley Snipes right now. That would be me in the movie. This is, they will always. You are not going to beat beauty and submission with independence ever, unless he is the weakest, you know, mama slap boy that you have ever met, and you will not want him because you do not respect him. But generally speaking, any fellas, hit one if you believe me. Any man would have married the barking chick, or they would have married the one that was singing just now. Period. Each and every single man will go to Nextdoria and marry him a Nextdorian chick. Period. Nextdoria would be like the new Colombia, the new the new what are brothers go? Brazil, the new Dominican, like all these places that brothers go to find beautiful, submissive women. That would be Nextdoria if it was a real place.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just don't get me wrong. Just because you can, don't have the chick bark all day, you know. But I'm just saying, you know, and that's hyperbolic. I mean, like how much of a barker is she when she learns how to sing and dance, you know? But
you see, they won't put that truth. That is the truth. That's reality. But they won't put that in movies because they want to keep women independent and strong and want to own their own businesses.
exactly, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, Jordan. I mean, like that's the truth. They are freaking lying to you. If you think your prince is gonna come because you are so independent and you want a barbershop, you are shit out of luck. You. This is a movie. You are because in the movie Eddie Murphy was also attracted to her independence. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know how she didn't want to marry Daryl because he was too forward, and you know, yeah. Like I'm telling you, those relationships always end. But yeah, be more next Dorian is my advice to the ladies. And to the fellas, find yourself a next Dorian chicks. Once again, if you ain't fucking pygmies, you ain't fucking shit. I'm gonna make a t-shirt on that. All right, let's see. All right, so speaking of which, the next scene. Hold on, do I got a timestamp on that? Yes, I do. Hold on. And I'm gonna be honest with you, women look better when they're submissive. And I really think that that's why Asian girls have such an appeal with white guys. It most certainly isn't their bodies. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking that is the appeal because they are reputedly submissive. And yeah, that's it. And it just makes a woman look better. So this is, I already have the screen share. So this is her. This is her in the thing. And he goes up to her. And keep in mind, she knows how to sing and dance and stuff like that. But then the writers just decided to write her as look at her lips. Look at her lips. Ladies, I said it before, I say it again. Gloss over stick. Gloss over stick. Fellas, let me know if you believe me. Gloss over stick. Oh, crap. All right, movie night is going to start in a minute. Lip gloss over lipstick. Look at him, just so glossy. It shines so brightly. Anyway, he starts with the whole whatever you like thing, whatever you like, and he's supposed to be turned off. And he asked her, you know, do you ever want to start a business? She's about to be queen. What business? I'm going to sell candles on the side. Like, what business? Oh, yeah. It's like, I want to do nails. What kind of hood crap is that for a man to ask a woman?
I didn't even catch that part. That's funny.
Yeah, like right here in this scene, you know,
yeah.
Do you want to start a business? And then he left her standing there because, you know, she's not independent enough for him. And then he goes to the barber and they run off and, you know.
Before we get to that scene though, I wanted to point out when he needed something from the lion. I don't remember, but notice how the oldest daughter was the one who helped him accomplish that.
Yes.
Like it was her idea. It was her main idea that got him to accomplish that. And you know that narrative that Black women always say, when you help a Black man to come up, you help him and then he leaves you. As if Black men tend to come up on the backs of Black women.
Exactly. That's the narrative that they're trying to paint.
Mm-hmm.
That is exactly the narrative that they're trying to paint. Well, and also it was something that he couldn't do without the assistance of a Black woman. Mm-hmm. You know, just like he mentally can't do stuff without, you know, without mama.
He can't fly without mama. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and he also can't fly. And yeah, so she raised him to be completely dependent.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad. All right, so to wrap the movie up, because after that it's just downhill. They attempt to get married in Queens at the Reverend the Reverend from the first one's thing, and now all of a sudden he's a pervert or something. What do they call him? Sexist or misogynist? Something. You know, and he was the one that held the Miss Black Beauty, you know, which is perfectly fine. back in the 80s or 90s when this first came out. But now that's considered sexist because society has changed and they think it's progress. But, you know, so they repainted him as the sexist pastor. And what stemmed from that and what followed that was they said, let's bring queens to America type deal, you know. And this is more of what we were talking about, where they're forcing the culture on a developing culture.
Yeah.
They're forcing, yeah. And then Sexy Chocolate came and sang, and you know, you had the nostalgia, and those twins, you know, my name is Peaches and I'm the best. Yeah. Those two came up with the same outfit that they had on 30 years ago. Bigger. And it's weird that Arsenio Hall didn't sleep with one of them.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that one of them didn't drug Eddie Murphy, but, you know, writers. And they all lived happily ever after. Oh, the daughter became queen. You know, she's going to rule afterwards. And so the matriarchy begins.
Yeah, of course. Like they had to end it where she became queen.
Yeah.
And Mr. Know-It-All had made a point earlier, the circumcision scene when he was being well, it was fake, but being circumcised.
Uh-huh.
That was degrading to men. I mean, they're chopping off his man parts in front of his sister, in front of everybody.
Exactly. And you know what was weird? In addition to everybody watching, he said, I thought that I already passed the manhood test or the courage test. He said, and then the father said, well, this is a different kind of courage. You know, it's one kind of courage to put your life on the line. It's another type of courage to put your manhood aside.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, put your manhood aside. What? First of all, your penis is not your manhood, so to speak, and put it aside. Why is this a good? So yeah, it's almost like they're encouraging him to be willing to put his manhood aside. But why would you ever do that? That's so yeah, obvious feminist thing. Yeah, you're right, and I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot about that. And yes, so yeah, they're promoting less attractive women. The first movie was full of attractive women because it's a movie.
Mm-hmm.
This one has a different type of movie, you know, or a different type of woman in it.
And they're promoting because that scene when he asked her, "Do you have a business?" was triggering to me, because then they're promoting like, oh, you should be ambitious, and if you want to be barefoot and pregnant, then you have no ambition. If you want to take care of your kids and your husband, you have no ambition, and he's gonna leave you for a woman who wants to own her business.
Exactly. So they're putting the fear of being feminine into women.
Mm-hmm.
They're putting that fear. They're saying, like, listen, if you are fearful, he's going to leave you for this highly educated, highly independent, you know, woman who is such a good barber that she's the barber for the Prince of Zamunda. You know,
and it's not until women step away from the screen and start asking real life men what they think, then we'll know the truth.
And it's been about 30 years and they still haven't.
Mm-mm.
Or they have and they don't believe us when we say it, you know, which is why I scream out the top of my lungs, get me a sandwich. Like, it's like they don't believe me. Like, what do you want from a sandwich? Like, it's, I have to like drill it in. Like, listen, it's not complicated. I know they told you that I want this woman who wants to own her own barbershop, and I would just walk up to chicks and say, you know, hey, do you want to own your own business? Like, that's my pickup line. It's not.
To know if she's the one or not, you ask her if she wants to own her own business, and if she doesn't, then you know she's not the one.
Exactly. Yeah, it would be in the reverse. But yeah, so definitely a lot of misguided women came from the previous generation came from my generation as a result of this stuff. And because the girls my age were young enough to see this, have it embedded in them, and then change their trajectory towards college And strong, independent, that'll get the man. And now they're realizing, like, something, I think I was lied to.
Yeah.
And ladies, if you are that age, this is the liar.
Yeah.
This is the liar. This is the lie. Look at her. Look at her. Look at her. You think we're gonna say no because she don't want to open up a shop and she's a queen? Are you fucking kidding me? The dress alone just tantalized my imagination. I don't even think. Well, I know that they don't sell it at a like Naughty or Nice. Shout out to the Bay brothers. Yeah, Naughty or Nice, right across the street from Bayfair Mall. You know what I'm talking about. But I know they don't sell it there, but it got me thinking thoughts. That's for sure. A metallic gold dress with like all the trim. Oh my god! And those lips, got the glossy. You think I've known this chick? You're a barber, and I've known you for a week. And guess what? After I'm married, you still gonna be my barber.
Mm-hmm.
And when I asked my wife, like, hey, you ever consider like having an additional whatever you like? Okay, well, here we go. Like, that is it. That is it. Concubine, wife. That is you. Ladies, you are foolish. You are foolish. You are foolish. If you believe this crap, if you believe men like him exist and you want him, you are full of crap. You are being misled.
Mm-hmm. It's our responsibility, though, to take accountability, take a step away from the screen and look at real life and ask men what they want.
True. And it sucks for women because is this it on the movie?
Pardon me?
Oh no, I was just asking. I think we're done with the movie portion, and we could just chat for about 2 minutes and then go to movie night.
Mm-hmm.
So, Zone, could you put the link? Could you put the Zoom link to movie night in the thing? But you were about to say?
Lost my train of thought. Do remember?
Okay. But yeah, it's highly misleading, and the women should put the box away, and like you said, put the box away and ask men. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I was about to say that it sucks because we want to sleep with you. Mm-hmm. And we will say within reason, I admit that, I will fib or embellish in order to meet my sexual goal. Mm-hmm. I will do that. And I think the most honest thing I can tell you as a woman is that I will do that. Mm-hmm. But there is extents that there are extremes that I wouldn't go to. So the reason why I say that is because don't ask me as a beautiful single woman, stuff like that.
Yeah, get curious. Ask multiple people.
Well, don't ask men that want to sleep with you. Yeah. And if you're attracted, that's everybody except your cousin and your brother and hopefully your father. Yeah.
If you have an uncle, somebody older who passed or somebody. But you see, men are afraid of what they say to women these days, because as we talked about earlier, just a woman thinking that a man is being inappropriate with her, we can get that man canceled based on the Me Too movement. So I can see where men are, for lack of better words, afraid to be completely honest with women these days.
Yeah, that's true. Like if somebody at work who I'm not interested in, and the reason why I say not interested in, because men have a tendency to say whatever it is to get you in the bed. So, if you are a woman, like I want to own my own business one day, and I want to be the CEO of a major corporation and blah blah blah. Do men like you really want that? Why, we do, but he's lying. Like, what is he gonna say? No, and risk not sleeping with you? So that's why I get why they're not getting that advice from guys, and also women see you as competition. So not much luck there. So a lot of women are on their own. Fortunately, I have you and Danica and Melody.
It's, I mean, and then it comes down to what do you fulfill, what's fulfilling to you? Because I had a conversation with a friend last night, um and he, being myself, going back to school, getting masters, and then starting a business, and now wanting to be a traditional wife to some extent, and not necessarily being so concerned about carrying on my business, but more concerned about taking care of my household.
Mhm.
My friend mentioned, like, am I going to go back in that, eventually say no, my business was better. But I personally wasn't getting fulfillment from having multiple businesses and going to school and moving at the top of my company. So it's, you have to be honest with yourself as a woman, what is bringing you the fulfillment, because it's draining having to be a masculine energy when you're not meant to be.
Exactly. And cinema makes it, well, I'll say this and then we could finish the conversation in Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they lied to you, ladies. I mean, it seems good the way they picture it on TV when they show Sex in the City and the women seem to work 3 hours a year, of actual work. And they make it seem like being a career woman is fun. It's not fun.
Yeah, no.
It's not fun. They're glamorizing a lifestyle, and you try it and you don't realize until, in some cases, you caught yourself, you found out soon, but a lot of women don't realize it until it's too late, that chances are you're not going to be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company,
Yeah.
and you sacrificed everything for nothing.
And even if you are you going to feel fulfilled?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, when you sacrifice family for finance, typically you wind up with neither.
Yeah.
So that's the harsh lesson. But you'll learn, and fellas, you'll learn that getting with a strong, independent chick, who picked up the check is good the first week, but there's gonna come that day when she pulls that strap on out one night. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. What is that? It's going to hurt. Is she want to fulfill her prison fantasies? Yep. It's a new thing. I would much rather have the golden dress with the glossy lips. Just saying.
With a sandwich.
Yeah, and the sandwich, exactly. All right, fellas, ladies, go ahead and hit that Zoom link. I'll be over there, and we are going to start movie night. All right, thank you. And yeah, this is Game Changer 00100. Game over. Peace.